Hey guys, it's Gaz and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a really amazing lasagna. So for me, a lasagna, before going vegan, I used to like a lot of white sauce or béchamel, cheesy. I like it when it gets caramelized on top, so I want to make sure I get a lot of that into my vegan lasagna, and I've got a really good way of making it creamy and cheesy. The most important thing in a lasagna is the ragu, so I'm going to make a really nice ragu with some courgette, which is actually homegrown, some Italian aubergine, some onion, some Italian chopped tomatoes. And I'm also going to be using some vegan mince as well, which can be found at all good supermarkets these days. If you don't want to use vegan mince, you can use a lot of mushrooms, or you can just add some more vegetables. So let's get straight into it. First up, I'm going to infuse some milk for the béchamel. So let me get a pan. Add around 1 litre of soy or non-dairy milk to a saucepan. Add a bay leaf, add some ground nutmeg. Next add 1 chopped white onion. Just peel it and chop it into 8. Add some whole peppercorns and a generous pinch of salt. So we just need to get this infusing over a low heat. For the ragu, finely chop 1 red onion, 4 sticks of celery, cut each piece of celery into 4 battens, then cut widthways, and mince 3 cloves of garlic. So next I'm going to chop up some courgette and half an Italian aubergine. So for my lovely Italian subscribers, I noticed you gave me a little bit of stick on my carbonara video. I just want to say, obviously these recipes are all inspired by the beautiful Italian recipes that you have. Obviously I need to change some dramatic things to make them vegan, so obviously my carbonara won't be a traditional carbonara because some of the core ingredients aren't vegan, of course. So what I'm trying to do is do my interpretation and try and get this similar texture, consistency, flavors, obviously making it vegan. I hope I explained my point there, but basically I'm trying to say these are my interpretations of some classic recipes. So of course they're not always going to be proper traditional, but I think that's the good thing about cooking. There shouldn't be so many rules. I think if you like a certain flavor, add it, just experiment. That's how I come up with a lot of my recipes, because I think, oh, you know, I could make this, but I'll add something that I really like. And that's how I come up with new recipes most of the time. So don't follow rules, just stick to what you like and enjoy. So I'm going to chop this courgette and aubergine a little bit, or eggplant, a little bit bigger than the onion, celery and garlic, because I want a little bit of texture. Preheat a large saucepan over a medium heat. Add a good glug of olive oil to your saucepan and give your milk a stir. When the pan is hot, add the onion, celery and garlic. So we don't really necessarily need a lot of colour on this, we just want to sweat them down. Just let all the flavours mingle together, get them nice and soft, and then we're going to add the courgette and the eggplant. I add a big pinch of salt now because that really helps the onion and celery cook down better, and it's also so important to season at every stage, otherwise you'll have bland food. That's what I got taught when I first stepped into a professional kitchen: season at every stage. So a good pinch of salt, sea salt that is, and pepper. When the mix is soft, add the courgette and aubergine. Let the courgette and aubergine cook down for a few minutes. Add 3 tablespoons of dried mixed herbs. So what I do now is put a lid on the saucepan, but I haven't got a lid this big, so I'm going to improvise and use a pan. That's going to create some steam and just let the courgette and the aubergine or eggplant soften and get really nice, and just get flavoured by the onion, celery, the herbs, everything. So I've turned the heat up slightly, and now it's time to add our vegan mince. I think you guys in America call it something different. I can't remember what you guys call it, but it's basically vegan version of ground meat. Sounds horrible, but yeah, this is really good stuff. I think this one I got is made predominantly from mushrooms. If you didn't want to add this, feel free to add a load of things like porcini mushrooms chopped up small. You can blend them up, portobello mushrooms. You will have to cook the water out of them quite a lot though. There's hardly any water in it, so we don't really need to do that. When making a traditional ragu, you would need to cook the meat first separately from the onions and everything like that, because it contains a lot of water, so you need to cook all that out first. The good thing, cooking vegan, we don't need to do that, so we can get it all in the pan like I'm doing now. Stir the mix well, making sure the mince is coated in all the lovely flavours. Allow the mix to cook for 2 to 3 minutes. Deglaze the pan with some balsamic vinegar. Add 2 tins of chopped tomatoes. Try and use Italian if you can. So if you are using a can rather than a jar of chopped tomatoes, please give the tin a little wash out to get any excess out, and then give it a thorough rinse and make sure you stick it in your recycling bin. It's so important. Stir the tomatoes into the mix, scraping any flavour off the bottom of the pan. So we need some more umami, some bold flavours, and a good way of doing that, as well as obviously I've added the balsamic vinegar, is adding some tomato puree. It's really rich, it's really bold, and that will add that umami that we need. So now all we have to do is pop the lid on and just let that cook away for about 10 to 15 minutes with the lid on a low heat. I will check it for seasoning after, because it's really important that we make sure we got enough mixed herbs in there, enough salt and enough pepper. Let's get my makeshift lid on. So for the bechamel or the white sauce, first up we need to make a roux. Really simple, equal quantities of butter and flour. Add some vegan margarine to the pan and let it melt down. Once the butter's melted, add some plain flour. Stir the flour into the butter. Stir the mix for around 1 minute, allowing the flour to cook out. So when I was learning to cook, this is one of the first things I was taught to make. It's a little bit more difficult when you're doing it vegan, but it's fine. So now that the flour's cooked out, we need to strain the milk into the butter and the flour mix. Add the milk gradually. Whisk the milk into the butter and flour mix until it's thick and smooth. When it's thick, add more milk. So please at home use a sieve, not a spider like me. I've just come unprepared for once. So we just want to keep whisking this until all the lumps have gone and you've used up all the milk. The exact measurements will be on my website, but some people like their white sauce thick, some like it runny. It does thicken up when it goes in the oven, and I also am going to be adding some vegan cheese. So if it's a little bit runny, don't worry too much because it will thicken. Check on your ragu. So that is the consistency you want. Really, really cheese-like almost. Really creamy, and as I said, it will thicken up once it's cooking. But before we make our lasagna, I'm going to put some vegan cheese in, and this is totally optional. Add a handful of vegan grated cheese. Add a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast, another optional ingredient. Once your bechamel is thick, creamy, and luxurious, remove it from the heat. After 15 to 20 minutes of cooking, your ragu should be cooked and look like this. So it's now time to build the lasagna. The ragu and the bechamel is done. I've got some lasagna sheets, and that's basically it. I'm going to build it. I do need to check the ragu for seasoning first because I forgot to do that. A little bit more salt and pepper, and that's it. As I said, if you do not add enough sea salt or pepper to any of my recipes or cooking in general, you're going to have bland food. Simple as that. If I served up unseasoned food to the hot plate when I was back in the professional kitchens, I would literally be probably sent home. You need a season at every stage. I remember this one time I had a cold that it took me out of work for a few days, and for a few weeks after it I'd lost all sense of taste. So I was asking my chef who was next to me to try all my food to make sure it's seasoned because I couldn't taste it. But after a while they just thought that I couldn't understand if something was seasoned or not, but it was literally because I couldn't taste anything. So really important to season stuff. So I'm layering the ragu, and on top of that I'm going to add some of the white sauce and then a sheet of lasagna, and just build it up. Doesn't have to be perfect, and if you want to layer it up differently, you're welcome to. Just do whatever you feel. add a generous helping of the bechamel sauce. Followed by some lasagna sheets. Make sure it's egg-free. Break sheets in half to fill in any gaps. Keep building until you've filled up your tray. Add one final layer. So my recipe is perfect for my size of baking dish. This is pretty standard, although it's quite long and slim. If you happen to have any leftover ragu, put it in a container and into the freezer or in the fridge. You can make spaghetti bolognese or anything like that with it. So it's great with pasta in general. So now I'm just going to get a final layer of the beautiful bechamel sauce, and I really want to just get it all on top and get it really nice and creamy. Spread the bechamel all over. There's the lasagna done. It now needs to go into my oven, set at 180 degrees Celsius for about 35 to 40 minutes. Now, it's personal preference how far you take this. Some people like it really caramelized on top, where you even get some like crispy edges and burnt corners and things like that. I personally don't like that. My dad is a huge fan of that, so it was always an argument growing up. Who gets the corner and who gets the center. I always wanted the center part where it's nice and cheesy and sort of creamy rather than crispy. I don't like crispy for my lasagna anyway. So I'm gonna get this in the oven, and in about 40 minutes get it out, and hopefully it's gonna look absolutely beautiful. So it's been 45 minutes. It's smelling incredible in here. It's time to get my epic vegan lasagna out of the oven. And you need to see how good this looks. Wow. Look at that. Oh God, I felt like I was carrying a precious baby out the oven. This just looks incredible. I love how sort of the juices from the ragu are coming up and looking gorgeous. You can even leave this in for longer if you wanted yours a little bit more caramelized on the top. I think that's beautiful. I just can't wait to dig in. So, did you see the white? I was so excited. I can't talk. The roux, the cheesy sauce, just like pour everywhere when I cut into it. It's just perfect. And what I will say, if you leave this in the fridge overnight, tomorrow, if you cut it cold, you get really nice portions of lasagna. So you can cut nice squares of it. Obviously, fresh out the oven, it goes into a little bit of a mess. But as I said, leave it in the fridge overnight. You'll cut some nice squares. I just need to give this a try now. It's hot, but I need to taste it. Best lasagna I've ever eaten. I promise you, that is the best lasagna ever. The pasta's perfectly cooked. The creamy, cheesy sauce is just incredible. And the ragu is seasoned to perfection. It just works incredible. It's literally better than any lasagnas I've ever had in the past. With a nice salad, it would be beautiful. I forgot to say at the start of the video, I'm going to be putting together some really nice recipe cards full of all the pictures from each video, for certain videos that is. So if you want one of the recipe cards for this lasagna dish, you can order them from my website. I'll pop a link below, and you can keep a collection of them if you want to. They'll get sent to you wherever you are in the world. I need to eat the rest of this. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and comment. Hit the bell if you want to be part of the notification gang. And please, please, please subscribe. It's really important, because when I hit 1 million subscribers, I'm going to be announcing where I open a restaurant. So please subscribe to the channel. Also, I forgot as well, my Christmas book is on Amazon, ready for you to pre-order. And my Vegan 100 book is out now. That was a big mouthful.